Well, it's North London Derby time. We're live. Hey, you guys, welcome to She Knows Arsenal. My name is Jessica, and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Jessinho. So today we're going to be doing a match preview for the North London Derby, and what can I say? I mean, back in the day, it was a little bit more exciting because, we kind of felt like we were always going to win. But now, I don't know, the tables have turned a little bit. It seems like Spurs have had an uptick in form. Bale's starting to work out. And I don't know, I'm not feeling particularly confident, but, we'll just see. And we're going to be talking about the match with my guest. Her name is Abbi Summers. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in now. Hey, Abbi.
Hey, Jess. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I love how, like, on all these streams, we act like we haven't really talked like a couple minutes before that. And I'm like, hey, girl, like, I haven't seen you, but obviously we talked before. But thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome. Thanks for asking me.
Of course, of course. So I just want to give you, set the stage for you, let everybody kind of meet you if they don't know you, and just kind of talk about what you do and how they can find you on the internet.
Sure. Find me at Abbi_Summers, as you can see there, just a little bit below. On Twitter and on Instagram, it's at Abbi Summers. I am a freelance journalist, freelance broadcast journalist as well. So I cover lots of Spurs games, lots of other content as well. And you can find all my content on my social platforms.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. That's where you can find Abbi. And, I've been following her for a while, just kind of like on the sly, can't let people know that I'm following Spurs fans, but I do follow you and I love what you do. So again, I'm so happy to have you here. So let's go ahead and jump in. So for me, if I have an opportunity to talk to a rival fan, I'd like to get their honest opinion of Arsenal and Arteta. So I'm going to just give you an opportunity to just let me know what your opinion is of us, and be gentle, Abbi. Be gentle.
I'm not one of those, fans that can't appreciate a good manager or coach if I see one, appreciate good players. I'm not that crazy and deluded to think Spurs are the best team in the world and we're going to win everything. That would just be crazy. There are some good attributes to Arsenal. Obviously, it's been a tough season for you guys. It's similar, but not quite as similar to us. We've had rocky patches, but obviously you guys, you weren't off to the best starts. There was lots of rumours flying around with Arteta. For me, I'm glad you stuck with him. Not from a Spurs perspective, but just as a coaching perspective. I think he's a really good coach. I think that if you were to have got rid of him, I think you would have definitely taken a step further back. And I think that he's, being under Pep Guardiola for all those years, there's no way that he could not be a good coach and, a good manager as well. So I think you did the right thing sticking with him, despite, form with Aubameyang and, what people might say. You can't, take respect off of his name. I remember seeing him at Dortmund and thinking, wow, what a player. And I was gutted when he went to Arsenal, hated seeing that. Same with Lacazette when he was at Lyon. I always rated both of them very, very highly. I can also appreciate Smith Rowe, massive talent for the future. Bukayo Saka, another one. So look, I can't, be too harsh on Arsenal defensively. We've got very similar issues, across North London. So, but there's definite attributes to Arsenal which are, good and will definitely develop in the future with the likes of Smith Rowe and Saka as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's difficult, when you're talking about rival teams because, you're like, well, I would like to banter. But honestly, like when I look at both teams, I think we're both in transitional periods, and both teams have really good players. I think you guys have a lot of quality up top, and so do we. And we both have similar issues, like you said, in defensive areas, and we're both pretty early in our projects, so we'll kind of see where those go in the future, but for you guys, your form has kind of been on the up lately. And with 3 wins on the bounce and excitement around Gareth Bale and still being in 2 cup competitions and just 5 points behind Chelsea, That's pretty good considering where you guys were. It wasn't too long ago where I think there was a lot of chatter about whether Bale was a good signing or not. You had just gotten knocked out of the FA Cup by Everton, and there were kind of rumors about some infighting between players and maybe Jose Mourinho and even Nagelsmann maybe coming in to replace him. So from an outsider looking in, it kind of looked like a typical Jose timeline, really, of implosion, similar to Chelsea and Manchester United. But how has it been for you as a fan, having Jose as a manager for you guys in the transitional period after Poch?
I mean, anyone who follows me knows how big of a fan I was of Pochettino. I never wanted to see him go. I think a lot of the supporters were on the same page as that, especially when you look at the reaction he still gets from fans. It's very rare that you'd see a manager still be so highly loved and regarded after, nearly a year and a half after his departure. So that just shows you the boots that obviously Mourinho was coming into, and it's a difficult one. And I wasn't very pro Mourinho at the start. I don't love his managerial ways sometimes. I don't always love the style of football. However, I'm not one of those fans that's, Jose out. He's actually grown on me as the season's gone on, despite, the football that we see. I don't think that's always his fault. I think there's varying factors as to, why our season has gone the way it's gone, from being top to, obviously having that really bad form for a couple of months and now on the up again. I think if there's anyone that's going to win Tottenham a trophy, it's going to be him. His resume speaks for itself. And I find him sometimes quite funny. I find, I like that he's very involved on Instagram. I like that he's quite engaging. I like his sarcasm. And I think that, not everyone will like what he stands for, what he represents. Not everyone will agree with the style of football. I don't always love what we see. But I think now that he's maybe learnt to stop having such a focus on Tottenham just all out defending and utilising actually what they're good at, which is attacking finally. And I think everything is maybe now just kind of clicking into place a bit, whereas obviously we were seeing a little bit of stubbornness from his side. Same with the players. A lot of the players moaning that they weren't, trained hard enough, are the same players that moaned they were overtrained under Pochettino. So I think there's a lot of ongoing issues, which happens at every football club. But it seems that a lot of those issues have maybe been put to one side, put to bed now. And once you start winning and you get confidence back, everyone is smiling again. So I'm happy that he's there, I guess. And we'll see. We're like you said, we're still in competitions. We're still, in two cups. So we could end up having a fantastic season. Technically, we could come out of it with 2 trophies, potentially finish top 4, or we could finish with none of it. So I think that the jury will probably still be out until the end of the season to see if we've improved in that sense.
Yeah, I think my biggest question when you guys first hired him was this a short-term or long-term appointment? It seemed a little bit short-term to me, but I think because of Tottenham being a different type of club to Chelsea and Manchester United, it's going to have to be a longer-term project for everything that he wants to achieve at that club to come to fruition, because the money is different, the prestige is different, and things like that. So that really kind of changes the scope of the project. But ultimately, I mean, you guys have a top quality manager, and a lot of times that's half the battle. You're not going to have to wait for him to learn on the job. Similarly to like Arteta, we're in a long-term project. So again, we'll see how it goes. But during Arteta's press conference, he talked a lot about the last North London derby, and obviously you guys, you won it, so it was back in December 2-0, and he said that we dominated, but we played with some naivety, and the first time that you guys attacked, we conceded a goal, so he talked about the quality that you guys have, and his quote specifically was that that's the quality. They're a well-organized team, a big threat in every counterattack situation, great individual skills, and great organization. And he was really complimentary of Son, Kane and Bale, with good reason. Obviously, Harry Kane and Son are now officially the greatest partnership in a single season for the Premier League. So your attack is definitely your biggest strength. But what would you say is Tottenham's biggest weakness at this point?
I mean, defensively, I don't even think I needed to say it. But look, we're going on a bit of a good run. Last night we saw us keep a clean sheet. We've definitely improved in the last few games. But you know, playing Burnley and their strike force compared to Arsenal's is a very different thing. And I think we'll see Toby come back in Sunday. I assume Davinson Sanchez will again be in partnership. I would foresee Reguilon playing. I'd foresee Serge Aurier. So having that consistency at the back is what will make this, you know, what will rebuild this defense. Because obviously last time we played you, we weren't conceding very many goals. And our ethos of playing was, you know, hit every team on the counter attack and sit back. And, you know, it's not fun to watch. It wasn't. I was lucky enough to be at that game. It was, you know, the only game that they really allowed, you know, fans to go back into. And I was lucky enough to get a ticket through the ballot. And I was there. And I remember, you know, I didn't necessarily enjoy the game itself, because I don't like games like that when you're sitting back and inviting pressure on. That's not how I personally like to watch my football. But, you know, you couldn't argue with it at the time. He was getting the job done. But it will be a very different game, because I think that we, you know, obviously Arsenal's weaknesses are also at the back a lot of the time. And so are Tottenham. So I can definitely see there being goals scored. And it's just something that Spurs are going to have to work on to try and finish the season as strong as possible. But keeping the same back four is so vital, because he was changing it all the time. And I just don't think that helps anyone, especially someone like Hugo Lloris. You know, he's got to have confidence with who's in front of him. And I think that was starting to affect his game as well a little bit. So having that type of consistency will definitely be an advantage to Spurs.
So for you, like moving forward, then, is it more of Jose adapting his game to these particular players, or getting new players that can fit the way that he wants to play? Because Jose is pretty stubborn. You know, do you think that he just kind of has to adapt, or it's more about getting the players to play the Jose Mourinho style?
I think he's given up trying to implement the Jose Mourinho style, because we've seen it, you know, for 2 months it wasn't working. He was so hell-bent on doing it, and it just wasn't working. And I think that it's also down to personnel. And, you know, it's no disrespect to, you know, the likes of Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez, but I think that Jose's come from teams where he can go and buy the best defender, you know, there is. He can go and buy a Ruben Dias, a Virgil van Dijk, someone like that. And I just think that sometimes you need to realise what you're working with. And, you know, he's not going to be like the defence you had at Inter or, you know, at Madrid and things like that. So he's obviously realised, okay, it's not working. Finally, it's not working. Let's give a go and see. Gareth Bale's fit. Harry Kane is, you know, the best striker probably in Europe. And obviously you've got Heung-min Son as well. And you've got Ndombele just behind. You've got Dele Alli that's coming back into the side, which is good. There's obviously been a little bridge built there, however long for, we'll take that. And just, you know, utilise it. Whether or not, you know, in the summer, I think our defence is the very first port of call. You know, I would be looking at 1 or 2 centre-halves. Obviously, we have Toby. We love Toby. But Toby is 32. Toby is getting older. He cannot play every game. And when you've got 3 games a week, he's not going to be able to play every game. But yeah, I foresee that whatever money will be available this summer, it will be going for sure on that defence, especially when that's his bread and butter. He loves the defenders more than anything. So yeah, that's where I think if there's any chance of having any money, we'll probably see more of the Jose Mourinho ethos once he's been able to bring in the defenders he wants.
That's so interesting that, like, because for Arsenal fans, what we talk a lot about is Arteta's he's intent on implementing this particular system, regardless if he has the players or not. So we're seeing kind of like there's maybe a handful of players that are probably suitable for this type of style long term. And then we have like the rest of the team is probably going to have to be replaced at some point. But you guys are in a different point where it's like Jose is adapting, which I've never really seen him do. So he's evolving. And yes. I think that speaks to where you guys are with your project, because you guys have enough good players where if he just tweaks a couple things, you can be a little bit more successful instead of being stubborn and just kind of pummeling down, like just falling down, you know, just being stubborn.
Well, I think with, you know, seeing how the last 2 months have gone, and he has tried to implement what he's wanted the whole way through the season. And yes, it did work for a very large portion. You know, we've been sitting top of the table coming into Christmas, and then it all kind of fell away. And you have to look at the last 2 months and you have to say, okay, it was working, but it's not working. So have a look at your squad, realize what your best assets are, which is your forward players. You know, even when you take out Harry Kane, Son and Bale, you know, you've still got Steven Bergwijn, you've still got Lucas Moura, you've got Eric Lamela, you've got players that can do something for you up top. And you know, I think another area will probably be midfield that they need to look at. I love Ndombele, I love Højbjerg. Lo Celso, for me, I really enjoy seeing him play, but he's been out injured for 3 months now, which was only supposed to be 3 weeks. So it's, you know, there's a bit of fear that it's another kind of Lamela situation, whereas when he plays, great, we all can enjoy that. But it's very few and far between. And for me, we never replaced the Christian Eriksen role. That's where I think Tottenham also have to strengthen. You have to have that playmaker, someone that can spray the ball. Because if you look at Harry Kane is effectively doing all the work himself. You know, last night, I assume you probably didn't watch it, but anyone who did watch last night is a prime example of how hard Harry Kane works. He is back defending. He's in midfield. He's spraying balls. Then he's getting up top and he's putting it in the back of the net, and he's everywhere, and that's amazing. But, you know, let Harry Kane be Harry Kane and let someone else do that job that Christian Eriksen always did behind. So that's another area for me. And it is similar with Arsenal, but I think that because he has a way he wants to play, but the way you guys want to play is, you know, it is progressive and it's attacking. Whereas Mourinho's natural style of play is very defensive. And I think he's realised, well, if we're going to get anything out of this season, I have to just bite the bullet and I have to, you know, adapt to how I'm going to play. And like you said, it's not something we've seen before. I'm very happy we're seeing it now. And I think he's realised that I need to utilise what I've got.
That is, yeah. It's so interesting seeing him adapt, because we were just talking about this a couple weeks ago about how Pep actually adapted, but Mourinho hadn't. And now just a couple weeks after that, you're seeing him actually do it. So you can teach an old dog new tricks, apparently. So in Jose's press conference, he was asked about the balance of power in North London. And with the new stadium and the quality of players that you guys have, you know, is Tottenham a bigger club now? And he didn't really comment. You know, he said he respects us and all that kind of stuff and what we're trying to do. But for you, Abbi, do you think that the balance of power has shifted, or is silverware like still necessary to validate that power shift in North London?
You get a lot of people talk about silverware. It would make me the happiest to see us win trophies. That's what, at the end of the day, as a fan, you want to see you win things, and that's what you're going to remember, not how many times you finish top 4. Yes, it's great to play Champions League football, it's a bonus, but also, you know, you forget the fundamentals of the game is winning trophies, whether it be a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a League Cup. You know, that is what you watch your team for. You want to have bragging rights, you want to win trophies. Whether, you know, Arsenal have, I'd say, probably fallen is a nice way to put it. From where they were, when you think about the great Arsenal teams of, my childhood growing up, everyone was an Arsenal fan or a United fan, and Arsenal had the best players. And you look now and they're in a very, very different time. Whereas you look at Spurs, you know, growing up, no one wanted to really be a Spurs fan because you never won anything. And also you didn't have the best players. So look, you have to credit, you know, Daniel Levy and the board for bringing the club to where they are now. In terms of being able to compete, to being, you know, one of the European, a club that's always talked about in a European context, attracting managers like Jose Mourinho that you would never have been able to do, you know, go back 15 years ago. So there's a lot of things that you can say a power shift or something like that. But I think that it just has leveled itself out over time. Spurs have got better, Arsenal have got worse. And here we are, we're very similarly matched.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Like, the way I think about it is like, it's not really about trophies or anything like that. I just look at it from where we are right now. And I think I think for the last maybe 4 years, you guys have been probably better than us. You know, you've qualified for Champions League and we really haven't been able to in the last like 5 seasons. If I look at your squad versus our squad, I would say that the quality is better on your end. We're probably about 1 or 2 players light. And then the management, you know, Arteta's a new manager. Jose is elite level manager. So, you know, but I think based on how the season has went, I think we're only a couple, you know, we're 7 points below you or something like that, and you guys are 5 points off of the top 4. So we're not that far away, but there's still some ground to make up. So I'm not too worried about it. I would love for us to kind of close that gap. Don't want to see you guys running away, next season, but we'll just kind of see, But, and really quick, just before we move on, how did you become a Tottenham fan if everybody around you was an Arsenal and Manchester United fan? If you want to tell me just, your story.
Well, my dad is from Edmonton, which is right next to Tottenham, as people will know. So I didn't really have much choice. I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans in the Edmonton area, Haringey area, and they obviously got the luxury of picking when they were younger which side to go with, but I didn't get that luxury. So I was, it's kind of always just been in my blood. He was a local guy from there, and that's how I ended up being a Tottenham fan.
Awesome. I mean, I think that's kind of how it is. Like for an American, we definitely choose what team we want to support. But for you guys, on the other side of the pond, it's kind of like sometimes it's a family thing and you don't really have a choice. But I think it gives you that level of connectivity to a club that maybe Americans don't have because we kind of just chose, So, but I think now what I want to do, this is the other question that I wanted to ask you is, in my mind, Jose was brought here to North London to you guys to win a trophy, and you're still in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup final. So what are the chances of you guys, ending the trophy drought? You kind of touched on it, but what are your thoughts? Do you think you can bring home a trophy this season?
Look, I'd like to say yes. And I'm going to say yes because I'm not going to be pessimistic. I'm going to say yes. I think the Carabao Cup, playing Manchester City, yes, we beat them once this season. They're looking a different outfit now to when we did play them and beat them. I think it'll be tough. But again, if you've got Harry Kane, Son, Bale, all on form, and it's a one-off game. So I guess it's not out of the realms that we could win that. The Europa League is one I would love to win. For me, that's super important, especially also with the element of having Champions League football out of it as well, not just a European Cup. The draws have been kind, I think, so far to Spurs, which is usually not something that I get to say. So I'm going to enjoy it this season. It's a marathon, the Europa League. It takes an army to basically get to, the good stuff. And I think that if Tottenham obviously go past Zagreb and we get a decent enough draw and get through that, I don't see why Jose probably wouldn't put all the eggs in the Europa League basket, because, it's going to be right at the end of the season. It's been a very, very long season because of COVID. And I think that if we do progress to the next round and we get a good draw, I think he'll see, we'll see the full strength sides be more prominent in those games. We saw it a little bit last night. It was a bit of a mixture of, first team and, subs, squad players. So I think that after Zagreb, depending on who we draw, assuming we get through, we'll see a lot more emphasis on Jose going for that, because we all know that Jose prides himself on the trophies. And, to win a trophy at Tottenham is like one of the hardest things that any manager could probably do, because of the track record. They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. So if he can do that, I think that is just going to spur him on so much to make sure that happens. Whether or not it's both trophies would be wonderful. But again, it's all about confidence. So let's say we get through the next round. The Carabao Cup's not that far away. If you win the Carabao Cup, it could have a knock-on effect and have given the confidence to go and win the Europa League. So I think it'll be a very interesting end to the season for Tottenham.
Would you like to see a North London derby Europa League final? How would that? No, you wouldn't want to see that. Okay, yeah,
no,
me neither. Me neither.
Absolutely not. I hate playing English teams and things like that. You only have to cast your mind back to the Champions League final against Liverpool. I think if it was any other team, it might have been different. But when you have an English team and you play them, you see them all the time, and I just think it takes the shine off of it for me. So I would like to, European Cups, I want to see us play a European team, and I think that you probably feel the same way about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we also have the chance to meet up with an old coach as well, which isn't really interesting to me either, as Unai Emery. You know, Manchester United, you guys, or Unai Emery, not great. You know, but the chances are that we will play one of you guys. So, you know, we'll just have to suck it up, I guess, if we get there right. You know,
hopefully you'll get United. We'll take.
Oh my gosh! I mean, they're not as good in cup competitions as maybe you guys or we are. You know, but I'm hoping AC Milan just knocks them out. That would be just great. You know, I'd rather play them than Man United. That gives me like the chills. Like I do not want to see that. So you guys, smash the likes, give Abby some love in the comments. We will get to questions at the end. We'll answer a couple of those, but we're going to go ahead and move into our combined 11 for the North London Derby. So I am going to share my screen, so it's going to look a little funky for a second. So just give me a second. Let me just do it this way. All right. Let me know if you guys can see that all right. Can you see that good, Abby?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah? Okay, good. Just pull this banner down. All right, so what do you want to play? Do you want to play a 4-2-3-1? Is that usually what you guys play too, or what?
Yeah, let's do that because we've got a lot of it's difficult though to put someone up top if we're doing best ever. Let's go 4-4-2.
Okay, let's do
because I know I'm going to want to put Harry Kane in there, and we're also probably going to want to put Henry in there too. So
okay,
let's try and fit everyone in.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So, do you want to nominate a goalkeeper? What do you want to do?
Am I nominating an Arsenal goalkeeper or a Spurs one? An Arsenal one?
Probably. Well, you have to tell me a little bit about your goalkeepers because besides Lloris, I'm not too knowledgeable on your goalkeeper. So let me know if there's somebody that you would like to put in there that's maybe better than a Lehmann or a David Seaman.
No, I would go. My option would have either been a Lehmann or a David Seaman. Obviously, we've had Hugo Lloris. He's been a very good servant to the club. But other than that, you've had Paul Robinson prior to that. We all love Paul Robinson, Radio Gomez. But no, for me, it would have been those two that sprung to mind. So I would still probably go David Seaman because I always loved David Seaman as well. Sure. You know, as a player, just being impartial. So for me, he would have been my first choice.
Oh my gosh, it's not popping up. Why? You know what? Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, we may not be able to do it this way. Hold on. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do it this way. We have to do current players. So,
okay.
Let's just do it for the North London Derby.
All right. Okay, let's do it like this then. Okay, so for me, then it would be Lloris. I probably wouldn't have picked any of your keepers lately. No offense.
Abby.
Well, if I'm basing Petr Cech on it, then I would put him for Chelsea. I wouldn't put him for you guys.
Okay.
So for me, it would be Lloris in goal if we're basing it on, recent history.
Okay. I'll let you have that one because Leno is definitely on my list. You know, after yesterday, I don't know if you saw, big mistake in the back. You know, so yeah, I'll let you have that one. Definitely let you have that one. So let's move. Let's actually just go across to the right back. You guys have Doherty and Aurier.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of those I rate very highly, but I also don't rate Hector Bellerin very highly. So do you want to, I mean, what do you think about
buybacks? Again, I think Sergio Aurier has had a much improved season. I think I actually think he's one of the players that's developed the most under Jose. I think he's calmed a lot. Yes, he still can look crazy at times, but I think he's definitely come on this season a lot. Hector Bellerin, I wouldn't again necessarily want to throw him in there because I don't think he's that great. But I think we'll give it to Bellerin just because.
I think Bellerin might be better going forward than Aurier, though.
I mean, look, Aurier can cross a ball, there's no doubt. But I just think probably over a period of time, I probably would just go with Bellerin for that. I think the right back position at both clubs is much to be desired.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, so this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. I would have to say, out of all your center backs, if I had to like transfer one to Arsenal, it probably would be Toby. I'd probably put him in here.
Yeah,
what do you think?
He would have been my shout. I wish I could now pick Jan Vertonghen, but we're doing only current players because he would have been the second one in there as well.
Were you sad that he left?
So sad. It was the right decision, and I'm so upset that we never got to do a proper send off because everybody loves Jan. You know, what a player, what an incredible player for Tottenham. And it was the right time to go. You just saw he wasn't the Jan that we knew, but it's a shame he never got a send off. I'm sure he'll be back once the fans are in the stadium, whether it's to watch a game or half time or something, and he'll just get such an amazing reception. So I look forward to that, actually.
It's so funny because we just faced Vertonghen and Otamendi in the last round of the Europa League. Blast from the past there.
Yeah.
Both of them. So, but yeah, he was a good player. I do like Belgium a lot, so it's kind of weird because I do rate Jan Vertonghen and Outerwell, but, you know, they also played for Tottenham. So,
of course.
Let's see. I'm going to have to put Gabriel in here. I think I can't really say that I would put anybody from Tottenham as the other center back.
I agree. I agree with you. So you can have that too. There's no one else that I would, based on this season, put from us in that position. So you can have Gabriel.
What's your assessment on Rodon so far as well? Because
I really like him. From what I've seen, it's unfortunate that he can't play in the Europa League, because I think that's actually probably where we'd see him maybe flourish and come on more. But when we have seen him play, I've really enjoyed seeing him. I think that he's probably one for next season we'll see a lot more of. And I think that just because of the defensive issues we're having at the moment, I think that's why he's probably not playing him at the moment. I think that's why he just wants a little bit of, more experience back there with Toby and obviously, I guess, Sanchez, them two playing with each other for as long as possible. So, yeah.
So in the comment section, people are saying that it should have been Leno.
But no way.
Lloris is a World Cup winner, at least. No offense to Leno. I love Leno, but I have my reservations about him at the next level. He's not a world-class goalkeeper. Lloris is probably a little bit closer to that than Leno. And Leno is fresh in my mind for that mistake. So that's why he's not in there. So, they're saying news came out yesterday that Lo Celso is injured again. How long is it going to last? Well, you said it's been 3 months.
Well, he had a hamstring. He was supposed to be out for 3 weeks, and he has been out for 3 months. He was back training, and he now has a back injury. So who knows? We don't know.
No. Wow. So I think we both know left back has to go to Kieran Tierney, don't we? Or do you have somebody else you'd like to put in there?
No.
Oh, you want to put Reguilon.
I absolutely love Sergio Reguilon. I think he has been a breath of fresh air in that spot. He's exactly what Tottenham needed. I've loved seeing him play. For me, Kieran Tierney, similar. They've only both really sprung into action this season. I would obviously put Reguilon in there just because I'm biased.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a really tough one because I hear you, but my heart is saying Tierney, but I hear you though. But it's just because Tierney's one of our best players, so it'd be hard for me to let Bellerin make this team, but Tierney not.
But if we're talking about the right back, it really was slim pickings. So it's probably not that much of a compliment to Hector Bellerin. I could have fought more for Sergio Aurier, but I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue too much because knowing me, I'll put him in and he'll go and do something stupid this weekend. But yeah, for me, I love seeing Sergio Reguilon play. Obviously, he's been injured a little bit lately, so I haven't seen him as much as I'd like to see him, but I would expect to see him on Sunday. Hope to see him on Sunday. And yeah, I mean, he is one of your better players, but again, hasn't really been lots of players to talk about in an Arsenal format this season either.
But does Reguilon score goals though?
No, he doesn't. But I think he's got a few assists so far. I think so. If you want to put Tierney in, we can.
I think that's what I'm going to do, and then we'll have one later where I won't be able to fight you on it.
All right.
This is just one that I'm going to have to put in there. I can't let it go.
You can have him. Goodness me!
Wow!
I think
look who popped up instead.
Get that one out. That's for sure.
That's so funny. Okay, so do we want to? Okay, yeah. So we'll just leave it like this because we're gonna both want to.
I'm gonna put my foot. I'm gonna put my foot down on this one.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Højbjerg has to be first choice in that. I think he is ridiculously good. He's got to be in there. He is.
Is he ridiculously good though, or is he just the best you guys have had in a while?
No, he's ridiculously good at the job he's there to do, which is to cover and clean up and do all the dirty work. And I love seeing him. For me, the amount of money we paid for him, one of the signings of the season.
All right, I'll let you have that one because I'm definitely going to put Thomas Partey in here because we're not about to put Sissoko in there or Harry Winks or any of that.
There's a very big shout for Ndombele in there.
But Ndombele, I feel like should go. Oh, that's why we should have did 3 in the middle, shouldn't we have?
Well, that was why, because we switched.
Didn't we? I'm gonna switch it real quick.
Switch it, yeah, because we were doing it on.
Let's do it like this.
We were doing it based on old, but yeah, let's do this. It's better.
Yeah. Let's do it like this. Yeah.
Okay.
So then, because I would say that. As much as I love Emile Smith-Rowe and Odegaard, Ndombele is a freaking baller.
He is. He's so good.
He's a baller. Oh my gosh. So he's going to go there, isn't he?
He is. He's got to go right in there.
How happy are you that, him and Jose have gotten over whatever little strained relationship that was, and he's been able to be really, influential for you guys this season?
So happy because, again, to last season, any podcast I did, we were always talking about it. And I knew it was just going to be a nightmare if he left. It would, potentially be catastrophic for us because he would have gone somewhere else and been so good elsewhere. And he's so talented. You see his feet are amazing. Like the footwork he does is a joke. And he's such a baller. So for me, it would have been such an issue had he have gone. And I'm so glad they turned it around. And I just think if we get someone else in that midfield, in that another creative player that can do that, I think that it will just benefit him so much because when he plays further forward, he's so good.
Very, very true. Very, very true. I can't fight that. I mean, this midfield is actually probably would be the best midfield in the league.
It's very good.
Yeah, I like it. If it was real, but it's not. Okay, so. Right mid, I have to put Bukayo Saka. I think between Mora and Bergwijn, I think that play on those sides. Neither of them have very much end product, and Bukayo Saka is obviously one of the best young players in the league. And I'm going to lose the other 2 positions, so I think let me have this one. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, you can have it. Don't worry, you can have that one.
Okay, I love it because I'm definitely looking at these other 2 positions like I have no way of winning this, do I?
It's difficult because I also, part of me would love to put Bale in there, but I'm not going to put Bale in there because it would just be wrong of me to do that over Heung-min Son. So we're going to put Sonny in there. I think he gets in every team.
He does, for sure.
He gets in every single team. And we don't even need to discuss up front, do we?
No. Okay, how do you spell Heung-min Son?
Heung.
There we go.
Yeah, there he is.
All right, and then
there's
Harry Kane. There really isn't. It's really unfortunate. I mean, did I fight to get some of my people in there? I did.
You did.
I fought, but that's a good front 3. I like it. I'm proud of this. I can't be biased to us. I think you guys do have a really strong side, especially in those front positions, and we have a ways to go, but I think this is a good assignment. I think we did good on this.
Yeah, I think it's a good team. I'd actually quite like to see how it would go.
Exactly. You guys in the comment section, let me and Abby know if you agree with this or not. I know some of you guys are saying that maybe not Larice, maybe not this person, but ultimately I think that this is pretty fair. So, all right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So for the last couple of minutes that I have you here, I'd like to maybe do a couple of questions if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
From
sure.
the people in the comment section. All right, you guys, it's time for get your questions in, ask Abby section. So if you have questions for Abby or even me, but mostly Abby because she's the guest, go ahead and drop them in the comment section so that, you know, we can answer them. So I did see one up towards the top, so I'm going to just find it real quick. Barry Byrne asks, will Mourinho be there next season if Spurs don't win a trophy and finish outside the top 4?
Yes, I think he will. I think it's we have quite a divided fan base over people who want Jose in, Jose out. You know, Jose's on 15 million a year, and he's still got, I think, 2 years left on his contract, or almost 2 years. I can't foresee in this current climate Daniel Levy sacking another manager. I don't think it would necessarily be the right thing at the moment. I think that, you know, if he's decided to have a little bit of leeway on how he sets up and how he's playing, how we've seen in the last few games, I think that's a much better system for us. And, you know, to have that compromise with Jose, so it's not all, you know, just Jose's way. I think there's a bit of compromise going on, which is good for everyone involved. And I think that he will win a trophy. I think he will. I think that it will get to, like I said, I think it will get to a point as the Europa League goes on where he will put all the eggs in that basket. And I think that we have, you know, regardless who we come up against, even if it's, you know, Manchester United or yourselves, I think that we would still have enough quality on the day, assuming Harry Kane, Son, Bale are all fit. And that's really going to be how the season ends, is who's fit and who's not. And the same in the Premier League. It's we just see, you know, how much Liverpool has suffered from injuries this season. You know, Leicester as well. I think we'll probably see them slip a little bit. We saw it last season happen too. So for me, that's really where it's gonna. We'll see it happen, whether or not people stay fit for those important games.
Makes sense. So Flo Lasenak asks, will you guys buy Bale or pass on the financial burden?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's a buy. I think it's another loan. And I think that you probably would have thought no, but obviously the last kind of like 4 or 5 games changing people's minds. It's a lot of money. If it is a loan, another loan, then I guess if he's in this form, it is worthwhile. But another one, he's very injury prone, can get injured at the drop of a hat. So I think we'll see. At the moment, he's making you want to extend the loan or the buy. I'm not too sure. But we'll see. If he could be the difference of us winning a trophy or not. And if he is the difference, then I would think that, yes, they will go ahead and they will do that, because he's still a great player. It just, you know, took him some time to come back to full fitness, adapt to being back in the Premier League. The physicality of the Premier League is totally different to La Liga. There's a lot of harsh critics out there who want him to be the Gareth Bale of old, but he's not. He's a lot older. And he is injury prone. And I think people don't realise just how physical the Premier League is. And when you've spent 7-8 years away, to come straight back in, it's going to take time, especially when you come back and you're injured to begin with anyway.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that I would say is that looking at your front line, if it is Bale, Kane, and Son, it's on the older side. So you guys would have to start to bring in other players too, to just kind of subsidize the time there so that you can keep them fit. And just kind of keeping in line with that, I do have a question for you. If you guys don't win a trophy, what do you think the likelihood of Kane staying, and even Son, you know, past the season? What's the likelihood of that?
Difficult, very difficult. With Harry Kane, I think the amount of money that we will want for Harry Kane is what will keep him at Spurs, especially with COVID. I think that's probably in our favour. He's still on quite a long contract. We don't have to get rid of him. And he's priceless to Tottenham. So I guess, if you're Daniel Levy, you're not going to want to accept anything less than 150 million. There's not many teams that have 150 million plus lying around at the moment. There's going to be big moves for Lionel Messi this summer as well. Again, the same type of clubs that can compete with that type of money. So people will be weighing up. It's whether or not you want Lionel Messi or maybe you want Harry Kane, and who's willing and who has the money to be able to put in a bid like that. But I think he will probably stay for Corona reasons. If he was to leave, I wouldn't begrudge him, because I think that he's that good. He deserves to win absolutely everything. It's similar to actually the Bale situation all those years ago. But obviously, of course, I hope he'll still be there. I absolutely adore him. And Heung-min Son, the same. I mean, he was supposed to be signing a new contract. That has gone a little bit cold. Whether or not they're looking to sell one of our big players, potentially. But again, he'd be very pricey. Probably not the same amount as Kane, but you'd be probably looking at, maybe 90, I guess. When you look at the current market and what you see players go for, I mean, he's another one that's pretty indispensable to Spurs.
That's very interesting. I think you guys also benefit from the fact that there's somebody named Erling Haaland that people would probably be interested in.
Agreed.
And teams like Manchester City will probably go for the younger, shinier option. But I don't see Kane in any other jersey but a Tottenham one at this point. What is he, 28 now?
I think he's 27. I think he's just 27. I could be wrong. I think he's 27. And you're right, he is on the older side. And you do look at the likes of Haaland and Mbappe, and how much money they're going to cost. And also you have to think, you're right. They've got time on their side, and what you can get out of them. But again, they're all going to come at a very, very big price. And it's really who's available to be able to spend that, especially when you haven't got fans coming in. You haven't had fans coming in for all that time. Be an interesting summer. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
For sure. So Barry asked an interesting question. So who would you want if Spurs did get a new manager? I know that it's probably all Jose right now, but let's think back to like 2 weeks ago when things were like, wow, what are we going to do? You were linked with Nagelsmann. Is that somebody that you would want to see come into Tottenham? Would you want Arteta maybe? Is that
no.
That you're interested in?
No, I wouldn't want Arteta, purely for the fact that I wouldn't want an Arsenal manager. We've just got an ex-Chelsea manager, so that's more than enough for me. Yes, we have been linked with him. He does have a certain Poch flair about him in terms of being a bit younger and how he likes to set up and play football. Is someone I think that would probably fit us quite well. But I don't know, you see these managers like come out of nowhere and then they're suddenly really good. Someone like, Ralph Hasenhüttl of Southampton, people were absolutely raving about him not too long ago as well. And you see these managers, they go up and down in their credibility all the time. So I'd be interested to see if he goes with someone like Nagelsmann. If Mourinho were to go again, it's another project. So we've just had a really long project with Pochettino. We're now in a big transitional type of project with Mourinho and where we're going to go with this squad. I don't think that Jose will be going anytime soon. But if he did, I would definitely think that would probably be the route Daniel Levy would be going down.
Do you guys know what the project is? Like, for Arsenal fans, we've been asking this for a long time, like, what is the project? But I think we can kind of see where we're going with the type of players that we brought in. Based on, like, who you guys brought in this summer, having Jose Mourinho, what is the goal for this project long term?
Trophies. I don't think it's a long-term project personally. I think that, his deal wasn't, massively long. It was, I think, 2 years, 2.5 years or something like that, maybe 3 years. Not a massively long deal. The project was to win trophies. If you look at the history of how Daniel Levy has signed and sacked managers, you had Martin Jol, got you to a certain point, sacked him. Obviously we had one day Ramos after that, and that was a little blip. But then you had Harry Redknapp come in, take you to the next level, as far as he could take you, then sacked him. Again, AVB came in, didn't quite work out, sacked him. Then you had Pochettino, a very long project, very patient project, very patient manager. Should have probably got more backing than he did that summer, just before it all went downhill. But this is the next thing. He's built the team thanks to Pochettino's help, and the next thing is trophies. And Daniel Levy has always loved Jose Mourinho, and he wanted him the first time, and it didn't work out. And now it's happened. He's got his guy. He's a proven winner, regardless of what people think and say about Jose. His resume will always speak for itself. And if you're going to get Tottenham a trophy, for me, there really is no one else that could probably do such an impossible task, because so many have tried it and fallen at the last hurdle. So you'd think that Jose has that type of attitude and mentality to instill in those players to get them over the line if you're in that position.
Makes sense. Well, Abby, before we get out of here, let's get your score prediction for the North London derby. What do you think is gonna happen, and who do you think is gonna score the goals? That's important.
What do I think? I think form always goes out the window in a derby, so I don't think it actually matters the fact that we're on a little bit of a good run at the moment. I actually think it will be 2-2. I think that we'll both concede. I think we'll see goals from Harry Kane. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Gareth Bale as well, just because
that would be so annoying. That would be so annoying.
How can I not? But like I said, I think that we'll concede as well. I think it'll, Lacazette loves to score against us. I think there'll be, I think that it will be pretty even. I think it'll be an exciting game because of all of our attacking threats. But yeah, for me, it'd be 2-2.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be massively on one side or the other. I think it's going to be very, very tight. And I think we're better than we were in December. And you guys, I think, are better than you were a couple weeks ago. We have no injuries right now. So I don't know where you guys are. I think you guys are pretty good on injuries besides Lo Celso and maybe one other player. So we'll see strong lineups. I think both managers are going to go as strong as possible. Even though we both played in Europe, there's no reason not to at this point. And I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal. We have to beat you guys this time. We were pathetic last time. So I'm just going to say 2-1. I think it's going to be close, but I think we'll concede. I think Harry Kane will obviously score, and I'm going to say Aubameyang and Bukayo Saka will probably score our goals. So yeah, Abby, this was awesome.
This was fun.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on my show and talking to this good old Arsenal fan. I hope it wasn't too excruciating for you.
But, not at all.
Yeah. But before you leave, let everybody know just one more time where they can find you and, that kind of stuff. Like, what shows do you have, like that kind of thing, so they can find you on the internet?
So at Abbi_Summers for Twitter and at Abbi Summers for Instagram. I also do a podcast with 3 great guys, 2 of whom work for Copper 90, which I'm sure lots of football fans will be aware of. It's called Run of Play. That will be out on Thursday evening. We actually have someone from The Athletic joining us this week, which will be really exciting, so we can get all information about what goes on at The Athletic. It's not a Spurs podcast, guys. It's just about football culture and everything surrounding the game, to, people going and getting themselves in with the ultras, to, talking about football shirts and things like that. So that's that. I also work for Sony Sports India. So you'll see some content on my page of me covering Spurs games for them. And hopefully I'll be at the next round of the Europa League. We weren't covering that last night. The focus was on United. But hopefully if we get to the next round, you'll see me on there. You guys won't want to follow me on the Spurs web because you're all Arsenal fans. But any Spurs fans that are listening to this at the Spurs web, we have a YouTube channel and have guests on there. We are in the process of getting our next guest on, which will hopefully be in the next few weeks.
Awesome. So you guys, that's where you're going to follow Abby and just follow her along on her football journey. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @It'sJustSenio. The next show is going to be the post-match show for the North London derby. Actually, no, it's going to be the instant match reaction and then the post-match show on Monday. And we're going to talk about the North London derby and our game against Olympiacos. So, you can find that on this channel and on the She Knows Arsenal Twitter page, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for being here in the comments. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.